The purpose of this meeting is to conduct the regular United Mutual Board meeting in accordance with Civil Code 4930 and was hereby noticed in accordance with Civil Code 4920. And we are in order, and we have a full house today. Everyone on the board is here present, and so glad to see you. At this time, Director Blackwell will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please rise and join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Are there any media present other than the eye in the sky? Okay, thank you. Do we have any objections to approving the agenda of last month's meeting as posted? Are there any changes or objections? Hearing none, the agenda is approved. I'm sorry, in the meeting minutes of August 13th and August 22nd, are there any objections or corrections to those minutes? Okay, approved. Thank you so much. Report of the chair was a wonderful party, 60th birthday party yesterday for the village, and many, many people attended. I'm not sure what the gate count would have been, but it was certainly, I think, in the thousands. So it was, in spite of the weather, in spite of the ominous cloud of smoke hanging to the east, lots and lots of people showed up, and thank you all for participating. And I hope you have a sense of the great community that we are. When you see everybody together in one room, it's really quite inspiring. You see so many ethnic backgrounds and ages, actually, and sort of interest levels in what we are doing here. So thank you all for attending, and if you didn't come, boy, you missed a good party. So thank you. We've had a couple of questions about the ballots. First of all, let me reinforce everyone's need to vote. You've gotten your ballots by mail, and the ballots will be counted on Friday, September 27th. That's just 2.5 weeks from now. Now, some people have said, oh, my ballot is different from my neighbor's ballots. The directors or the candidates are listed in a different order. There are actually 6 different ballots. So that no one is given an advantage by alphabet or by anything else. There is a random sort of the names listed. Now, the electronic counting device is smart enough to put the votes in the right place. So don't worry about that if your ballot is different from your neighbor's if you're discussing it. So they are all different. There are 6 versions. And you vote the one that you want, but pay attention to the names. Don't just say, oh, the first 4 are the ones I've got to vote for, the last 4 are every other one or something. Pay attention. Obviously, read the candidate's statement. Look at the Meet the Candidates video if you can, and be a responsible voter. I hope we get more than our normal 20 to 25% voter turnout this time. It's important. On another note that we don't usually do, but a long time and well-loved member named Tony Barr has become seriously ill. And if anyone would like to have contact information, Elizabeth Romano has supplied it to us, so I'll let you know if you want to contact him with well wishes. So that is it from the chair. At this time, we'll go to open forum, 3 minutes per speaker. Members only may address the Board of Directors regarding items not on the agenda and within the jurisdiction of this Board of Directors. The Board reserves the right to limit the amount of time allotted to the open forum to 30 minutes. A member may speak only once during the forum. Speakers may not give their time to other people. No audio or video recording by attendees. No rude or threatening comments. Members can attend the meeting by joining Zoom or linking in or emailing. Do we have any open forum speakers, Paul?
Yes, our first speaker is Ms. Cheryl Garcia.
Good morning.
Hi, Cheryl.
Hi. I've spoken twice before this board. I am the resident of Manor 792B. I spoke before this board on March 12th regarding an ongoing plumbing issue caused by subcontractors of BMS. And then I spoke on May 14th regarding moisture intrusion issues caused from the plumbing issue. And now my contractor, in an attempt to try to rebuild, tried to get permits and was told because asbestos testing wasn't done prior to the plumbers doing their work, that they couldn't issue the permits. So I hired an industrial hygienist company to perform the testing, and the results came back 18% asbestos contamination. Consequently, because high-velocity fans were circulating air in my manor while I was living in there during this time, there was dust all over my house. So I reported this to VMS, and they requested to do secondary testing, which they did, and I was present when they performed the monitoring. They did air monitoring, specific testing in the 2 bedrooms, the bathroom, and then air monitoring, vacuum monitoring, and test samples throughout my manor, and that's fine. I requested the results, and I was denied those asbestos results because I didn't pay for them, so they're not mine. So I have been now compelled that I have to sign a waiver relinquishing the right to my property, any electronics in my house. Without being given the test results, I am supposed to rely on a narrative and an interpretation from Dan Yost, the risk manager. And so I have been forced to do that. I cannot get a clearance. I have to get a narrative of the clearance. So I don't have any of those results should I choose to sell my property. In addition to that, my 3-year-old grandson now has to come back into that property without me knowing the status of the health and welfare of my property. And it is just unconscionable that you guys have, it's gotten to this point. I just feel so abused. And nobody reaches out to me. I have to be the job manager and constantly reach out. And I'm going to give you an example that the left hand doesn't know what the right hand's doing. On the 27th of August, my entire building was supposed to be tended for termites. They showed up to do that work. They wanted to come into my house, open the common attic in my house, tent the entire building, and turn on their fans, knowing there was asbestos in the house. And I had to stop them from doing that and make some phone calls. Had I not been there when they did that, they would have contaminated the entire building with asbestos. So it just shows you there's just a total lack of interdepartmental communication. And the frustration level is over the top. To date, from February 5th, I have had no bathroom, no place to go to the bathroom, no shower. I've been sleeping in a recliner. Now at least I'm over in the hotel across the parking lot because of the asbestos contamination. I hope when you adjourn, you seriously will consider my request for the asbestos testing, the Procedure 5 cleanup, and then the clearance testing and certification is not illegal, it's not immoral, it's not unreasonable. Those are things I should be provided for my own well-being, for me to be able to sell my property, for me to be able to consider whether I want to allow my grandchild to come visit. So, thank you.
Thank you, Cheryl.
And the next speaker is Ms. Chris Collins.
Oh, Ron Collins. Chris Collins.
Chris
Marie.
Collins. Chris Collins, not Marie Collins.
2 Collinses.
Hi, I'm Chris Collins, 3306Q. I'm here with an update on the work of the Foundation of Laguna Woods Village, which we do on behalf of residents that are experiencing temporary financial crisis. And I want to tell you a bit about the Good Neighbor projects. Hopefully you've read about them in the Globe and other sources of information. Anyway, a sense of community develops in different ways, but the surest way is social interaction. For example, doing things like sharing experiences, making connections, discussing issues, and solving problems. By causing fear and isolation, the pandemic disrupted our sense of community, which is the social fabric of the village. For our continued well-being and health, particularly as we age, Establishing the social fabric is essential. So getting to know our neighbors and working on community projects are some of the ways to do this. So using some specially dedicated bequest funds, the foundation of Laguna Woods Village Good Neighbor Project is happening this September, and it's a beginning step in this process. So as part of the foundation's Good Neighbor Project, 6 village clubs proposals were selected from those submitted to receive seed money to implement activities that will help reconnect the fabric. The Baha'i Club is participating without foundation funds. In addition, a new initiative with the village called the Good Neighbor, the Florence Sylvester Senior Center will begin in September. So the 7 projects are different audiences, activities, and purposes. One is targeted at game players, one is focused on culture, one involves nutrition, while one involves book lovers, and another pickleball. So all the activities will take place during the month of September to celebrate National Good Neighbor Day, which is actually the 28th of September. Our hope is that everyone will find an activity or activities that pleases them. So this is a little quick overview of some of the projects. The African American Club is hosting an International Game Day on September 17th. The Camera Club is hosting residence and pet photographic portraits. And this can be arranged by, if you contact the Camera Club at Camera Club, LagunaWoodsVillage.org. And I've heard that they haven't gotten too many responses. So if you want to do that, please contact them. Chinese American Club has its Mid-Autumn Festival. It's called the Mooncake Festival, and that is the 19th of September. Pickleball is going to have a series of pop-up pickleball experiences, and those are throughout the month. There was one on Sunday, and then there's some other ones coming up. The Publishing Club is sponsoring Book Buddies, which is pairing resident authors with other residents interested in sharing a book with one another. And this is the September 18th. Then the Baha'i Club is hosting a Good Neighbor Dinner, and that is actually tonight at 6:30 in Clubhouse 3. And then beginning on September 9th is a program called the Nutrition Connections to encourage village residents to learn about and participate at the Florence Sylvester Senior Center. And in the interest of time, I'm going to leave you with that. But I hope that, we really hope that people will participate. So thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
Next speaker is Robert Reyes.
It says very close. That's all right. I should let her go first. I'm a gentleman.
Robert.
Good morning.
Good morning, Robert.
I'm here as a resident and not a director. I just have a few comments. Thank you for your service. I know how hard it is to be a volunteer. Put your heart and soul into it and take a lot of hits, right? We do this because we love our community and we see the value in living here. It's a wonderful place. And I'm just going to repeat it. I'm third generation villager, and I love always to remind everybody of that. Unity and trust are keys to another 60 years of success. Truth leads to trust. Truth comes from transparency. Putting all our cards on the table. You are doing this right. We feel that you need to improve in this area. This is what we really want. Do residential mutuals want to participate in another corporation's decision-making and budget planning process? In our unique, very unique, and challenging governance, how do we keep a balance of transparency and wrongfully cross over the line into someone else's sole area of responsibility? That's the challenge that we have here, and we need to figure it out between all the 5 corporations in this wonderful place. And I have a question. Do we have an emergency plan of action in case of a county-wide fire, now that we have the airport fire so close to our community? Just thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, our next speaker is Dr. Elizabeth Romano.
Thank you for your time. I want to address something that I mentioned last time that other residents have talked to me about. There was a gentleman in the lobby talking about another $800 assessment on residents. And the residents feel like, this is a stick that we're getting it stuck to us. Again, we're not told what it is about. Most of us don't have, 40% of us probably don't have the $400 to pay in our savings. And then we're looking at another $800 assessment. So please see about bringing that up and letting us know where it's coming from so we can prepare. That's catastrophic for a lot of us, okay? The other one I wanted to follow up on the failure to have a federally required corporate compliance program that has a response to abuses. And I'm very tired of having to continue to bring this up. And what all that this is doing is adding more damages, because we need to have a person sitting in the CEO position that follows the law, which we don't have. We need to have people responsible. Okay? Okay. So I would like to see action followed up, and that's my point, and I want to thank you all. And please, Tony was just given 5 days to live, so please, if you can, send him a good thought and good prayer. He made a difference for all of us wherever he was. I want to thank you for that.
Thanks, Elizabeth.
Okay, our last speaker is Marie Collins.
Ah, finally, Marie.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
I have extra.
Good morning, and thank you. First of all, I want to thank you as a board for the untold number of hours and complaints you've listened to, etc., in taking care of our homes and our quality of life. And it's usually thankless, but I want to thank you. And if anybody would join me, I want to thank you for your service this year. That's number one.
Oh, she's
number
a politician.
Two, I want to thank you for the decision that you made last week to pause on this turf replacement thing, okay? I had to leave before y'all did that, but I heard that you did it, and you are going to be heroes for having done that. When I first asked you about a month ago, I didn't know so much about it. I kind of knew, but I've done a considerable amount of research. What you have before you is kind of like a present for reward for this. You really know that you did the right thing, because this is only the tip of the iceberg as to what I have already found. And that's only been a month, okay? Well, the first thing I found just recently is that the El Toro Water District is currently, as I think it was Catherine Freshley, at the end of December, gave a little video. I saw a video recently that she did that said we are going to be looking into making the whole of El Toro Water District a net zero water thing. Well, I kind of was hoping that for us, but now that they're doing it, maybe we can work with them. Now, what does that mean? It means like a spaceship, okay? No water in, no water out. There's technology available today that let's say they weren't doing this. There's technology available, and I don't know how much it would cost. That's why I want to do some cost comparisons. It might not cost as much, it might cost more. But the truth is, the maximum thing it could do is have us taking water from air and have us recycling our recycle water all the way to potable water. We would have zero grass being watered with potable water, except if we had recycled it. We could even sell it back to El Toro Water District for everybody else. Anyway, I knew I would get sidetracked in telling you why and how I came up with this. So you got this list, and believe me, this is not an exhaustive list. But, so the next thing is the $3 per square foot. The El Toro Water District puts out a publication which says we get $3 per square foot up to a maximum each year of $50,000. Now, maybe we have a contract I don't know about, but some of the people at the El Toro District didn't know about it either. Okay, so that would really be a bit of a problem. But we might get a contract for it, but if we don't, we would be in the hole about $7.5 million. I am so sorry I've run out of time, but here it is.
Thank you, Marie. Thank you. That's it? Okay, thank you. Are there any responses? Yes.
I would like
Siobhan.
to start, please, with an update on the wildfire question, since that's probably at the forefront of most people's minds. Orange County Fire Authority has a mutual aid plan for wildland fires that impact urban areas. This plan incorporates all of our first responders to assist with necessary evacuations, traffic control, and protection from looting. The operational area also assists in long-term support of that scope if there is a continuing problem. So in our partnership with Orange County Fire Authority, we do have an emergency plan to answer Mr. Reyes's question. And Eric is obviously monitoring the fire conditions on an ongoing basis.
Tony?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd also like to jump on there with our CEO and remind Mr. Reyes that there is a disaster preparedness task force headed up by Eric Nunes, and the goal there is to keep us informed, and if something drastic were to happen, that there would be some seamless operation between the state, the city, and our people here. And our next meeting is on 9/24, and it's an open meeting. You're welcome to come. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Nancy?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. For the CEO, what is the instant communication system that will any resident who's watching right now may access, like TV6, et cetera?
It's best to follow Orange County Fire Authority. Let me get that link and I'll provide it before the end of the meeting. Thank you.
All right. Any other, I assume that you're familiar with the Cheryl Garcia's issue and...
Yes, and I'll provide an update in closed session.
Thank you very much. Okay. Responses to past open forum speakers. Nancy?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, we had 8 people speak at the last open meeting, and 2 of which...
Nancy, speak into your microphone, please.
Sorry. We had 2 of 8 that deserve response from the last meeting, and I'll address those. There was a D. Tucker, Manor 252D. She was thanking the board for service, et cetera, but she is suggesting the cleaning of dumpster alcoves. And the response, CR&R, which is our waste removal company, is responsible for sweeping the enclosures, and our janitorial staff will pressure wash on a requested basis. That means that entity. The trash and clear that she spoke of was pressure washed the week of August 16th, and the issue of sweeping the enclosure has been discussed with them. The second one was a resident, Mary Norrie, 798H. She was asking for possible remedy for her mother, who can no longer navigate the steps outside her manor. Excuse me, that's kind of the smoke that I'm getting as well this morning. She also spoke about the issue of the sidewalk that had lifted and caught her mom's walker. So General Services entered a work order ticket to repair the lifted contract, which was completed August 19th. The manor alteration manager reached out to the resident to confirm receipts of photos she had submitted. He also provided her link for the overview of the consent process, etc. She was advised that the process starts with an application for a permit and to reach out for her for any additional questions. And so that would have merit for any other resident who has a comparable problem. Madam Chair, that closes out the responses to last month's.
Thank you. VMS Board Report. Cynthia Rupert's here.
Good morning, Madam President.
Hi, Cynthia. Glad you're here.
CEO Foster and staff. It's nice to be here on this smoky morning. Let's just hope it stays further away. We had a very productive couple of months at VMS. We're very pleased to be able to announce some changes that we've been working on, and CEO and her staff have been working very hard. One thing I would like to first start with is open recruitment. As everybody knows, we are always looking for good members and good team members. And so I wanted to let you know, as of right now, we have 64 openings, which is actually down from what it's been. So we're doing a little better in that area. And recruitment, we're trying all the time to bring in ideas to keep people here. Save on onboarding, keep our staff happy, keep them as an asset, because they are very, very much our main asset. And escrow, we are striving to have the beginning, pardon me, my voice is really rough outside. Yeah. We are trying to have in escrow, pardon me, to close in 20 days from start to finish. That is the goal. We are currently on the average of 24 days for Unite. I'm sorry, 25 days for Unite. Thank you. I don't know if that'll help, but thank you. I'll do anything in the air. I'd like to also talk about the new benchmarking report that was put together by staff and VMS directors. The idea behind this was simply to get information about how we compare with other communities. Are we cost effective or not cost effective? Thank you. I'm not sure what this is. Is it going to kill me? Ooh, whoa.
It'll work.
It's strong. Whoa. Okay. The problem really is we have such a unique community here. We have over almost 4 acres, right? Sorry, here we go again. All right, 4 square miles here. We have over 13,000 manners, over 18,000 residents. So we have a very unique community. When we go to compare with other communities, it's very difficult to find anything that is exactly like we are. So what we did is staff went out and they did comparisons with what they could find close. Some of our sister communities, some other communities in the area. And they took individual areas and went out to see what costs were in those communities versus our costs. And they went department by department. Turns out, favorably for us, that we tend to always be more cost effective, offer better services. The whole idea here is to give us a baseline that we continue to check with each year, analyze what needs to be done, and set that in our strategic goals. Next thing, we also have, this is pretty strong. I don't know what this is, but it's pretty strong.
I thought it was.
What's in it? Whew. I'm going to have a problem later? I don't know. Okay. Another thing that we've been working on very diligently with staff is to do some key performance indicators. This has been requested for a long time, and it has been in progress for a long time. We're happy to say that it is moving along very, very well. And it is set up with new indicators for each department, which they'll be bringing forward to you. And the last thing is this benchmarking report will be provided to you in detail. And the statistics and the detail that they have gone to is absolutely phenomenal. So I thank our management staff. There you go. Have a nice day. And don't cough too much. What is this, by the way?
It's a fisherman's friend, and it really works.
No advertising.
Feel it.
Cynthia, perhaps you and Siobhan can tell us how many residents have been hired for full-time positions into VMS. Remember, a few months ago, we approved the process for residents to apply for full-time?
And it is underway, and we do have some on board, and I believe Siobhan can.
So to date, we've hired a security patrol officer and a social worker. I'm waiting for the August data, though, so I may have additions to that as well.
Okay, so it's working. Great, thank you.
Anything else? Can I answer any more questions? Okay, I will say these work.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much. Lovely
Okay,
day.
thank you, Cynthia. And CEO report, Siobhan?
Thank you, President Bach, honorable members of the board, audience. I would like to share some key updates this morning. The first is we are campaigning to help keep your local DMV office. As you have heard, the Laguna Hills DMV office is scheduled to close October 11th. This is a permanent closure. According to DMV, they don't think the Laguna Hills office meets the current needs of the department. But as you know, the next nearest DMVs for in-person visits are Santa Ana, San Clemente, and Costa Mesa. So they are far away and not easily traveled to by some of our population. We are working closely with the city on this and our South Orange County legislators who are also taking action. On August 26th, the 7 state assembly members and 4 state senators signed a letter to the DMV director, Steve Gordon, asking him to prioritize constituents of South Orange County and to reconsider the closure. They've also asked for a meeting with Director Gordon this week to discuss the feasibility of renegotiating the existing lease or identifying alternative sites to offer services. So again, we are working in concert with the city and other area cities as well as our legislature. We're also encouraging our residents to help the campaign to keep the office open and operational. We have provided links to digital messages and email form letters that residents may download, print, date, sign, and mail to Governor Newsom, State Senator Dave Mim, State Assembly Member Diane Dixon, and the California DMV Director Steve Gordon. These are available on the Village website under the News tab. We also here out in the concierge desk have pre-addressed envelopes for all 4 letters that can be mailed to these key contacts. So again, encourage your participation if you're interested in helping to keep the office local. In terms of Clubhouse 1, we're happy to announce that Recreation is beginning to move back into Clubhouse 1 on September 16th. They will have a soft reopening, and this will allow them to troubleshoot and continue the move-in process. And we are moving towards an October grand opening event of some sort that will be announced to the entire community. And we would like to share some recent photos of the facility. On the screen before you is the ballroom. There has been new doors and windows installed, LED lighting, and you can see the fireplace facade at the end of the picture. On the next slide is Conference Room 1. This includes both the conference room and the kitchenette area. On the next slide is the former billiards room, which now is a multi-purpose room. On the next slide is the former art room, which has become the new billiards room. And lastly, here are the pool locker rooms. These feature all new fixtures, which I know will be greatly appreciated by the users. United members are encouraged to attend the Architectural Control and Standards Committee meeting. This will be held on September 19th at 9:30 here in the Community Center boardroom. This is where the committee will be discussing potential changes to the exterior color palette for buildings in United. We encourage you to help shape the look and feel of your community and attend and share feedback on the proposed changes. Again, that is September 19th at 9:30 here in the boardroom. We also encourage residents to save these disaster preparedness task force dates. On Tuesday, October 8th, residents are encouraged to participate in the Security Services and Disaster Preparedness Task Force Expo, which will be held in Clubhouse 5. Meet vendors, experience an earthquake simulator, find disaster preparedness supplies, and discover additional resources. And then on Thursday, October 17th at 10:17 a.m., residents should participate in the annual statewide Great Shakeout earthquake drill and prepare for disaster by identifying drop, cover, and hold locations, inventorying personal emergency supplies, and updating contact information with friends and family. We do also want to remind residents that kudos cards are a great way for residents to acknowledge VMS staff who have provided excellent customer service or have gone above and beyond. Residents may share details about these interactions and positive customer service experience by using a kudos card. These cards are available at clubhouse offices and here at the concierge desk in the community center. They may also be submitted electronically by emailing info@vmsinc.org. Some good news to share with the community. The ERP project has gone live. This is the Enterprise Resource Planning Program. This is our upgraded software system. Phase 1 went live last Tuesday on September 3rd, and this is for our financial services systems. And we're really excited that this has been achieved, and then we will be moving forward into phases 2 and 3, which automate our field services and our customer services operations. Recreation and Special Events is pleased to announce that the County Registrar of Voters will host a vote center here in the village. That will be on Saturday, November 2nd from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. and it will be housed in the PAC parking lot. So if you want to vote locally, please take advantage of this opportunity on Saturday, November 2nd. And I do want to share a couple announcements about the election. They're not on screen, but we want to remind everyone that candidates participated in the Meet the Candidates event on August 23rd and had the opportunity to record a statement. This meeting will be replayed on Tuesday, September 24th at 9:30 a.m. And the candidate statements will air on Tuesdays at 2:30 p.m. And this will occur today, next Tuesday, the 17th, and Tuesday, September 24th. Also, ballots were mailed to members on August 27th, and they are due by Thursday, September 26th at 11 a.m. to the Inspector of Elections post office box, or by 5 p.m. to the ballot box here at the community center. And if you did not receive your ballot, or if your ballot is lost or damaged, you may call the Unelect Inspector of Elections Duplicate Request Center at 1-866-466-6455, which is available 24 hours a day throughout the balloting period. And this phone number can be found on the website, and it's been in the recent What's Up in the Village newsletters. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, next item on the agenda is the consent calendar. All matters listed under the consent calendar are recommended for action by committees and will be enacted by the board in one motion. In the event that an item is removed from consent calendar by members of the board, such item shall be the subject of further discussion and action. And do I have a motion to approve the consent calendar as submitted?
I move to approve the consent calendar as submitted.
Second? Sue seconds. Thank you. All those in favor? Okay. Approved. Thank you very much. Okay. Unfinished business. We will entertain a motion to approve revision to Standard 18, gutters and downspouts. And 12A tab is... Maggie, do you want to read when you get there?
It's number which?
12A.
12. Resolution 0124XX, Revised Standard 18, Gutters and Downspouts. Whereas the United Laguna Woods Mutual recognizes the need to amend standards and create new standards as necessary, and whereas the Mutual recognized the need to revise Standard 18, Gutters and Downspouts, now therefore be it resolved September 10, 2024, the Board of Directors of this corporation hereby adopts revisions and amendments to Standard 18 Gutters and Downspouts as attached to the official minutes of this meeting. And resolved further, Resolution 012411, adopted February 13, 2024, is hereby superseded and canceled. Resolved further that the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out this resolution. The 28th notification date for member review and comments to comply according to Civil Code 4360 has been satisfied. I move this amendment. I move this resolution. Sorry.
Second, please. Tony, thank you. Discussion? Questions for Alan Grimshaw? He's here. Okay. We ready to vote? Those in favor? All right.
Sorry, we're going to be using the screen.
Thank you. Sorry?
We're going to be using the screen for voting.
Oh, okay.
Touchpad.
Thank you. Okay, I see. It is working. All right.
If your screen's not working, please let me know. And I'll punch it. Okay.
No. Shall we do the hand count again?
Just for, let's see, Director Kale, yes or no?
Yes, but it's not working.
Okay.
No, mine
and
isn't
Director
either.
Willis, your vote? Director Willis, your vote, please? Yeah, it's not showing up in my system, unfortunately. You can give me okay. There it is. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Unanimously approved. Thank you. All right. Next, we have the disciplinary report.
Wait. 13.
Okay. Item 12B. And don't know, Francis is not here.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I move we lay this over one
All right.
item so that Francis can arrive to explain.
Is she expected?
Yeah, I just texted.
Okay, all right. We'll put this aside for a moment and move on. Under new business, 13A, this coming Friday, we have a town hall. And Director Choiho is in charge of town hall this Friday. What are the plans, Mickey?
Yes, Madam Chair, thank you. As you know, the United Board of Directors have several meetings between May to August to discuss the 2025 business plan, which is including the budget. Today we will have a new business agenda item coming up, 13E. So we are going to finalize the budgets, and everybody is interested in, particularly this time. So we are going, after budget is approved today, the final figure will be presented to the public, residents of the United Mutual on Friday. So we will discuss the major key points of our budget plan, and also we will entertain some of the discussions and questions, so on. So I'd like to suggest many of United Mutual residents come and listen to it and just discuss our concerns and future outcome of our business. Excuse me. Well, of course, our finance committee as a whole, Mr. Tuning and also Ms. Bach, we are three, musketeers of finance committee. So we will work it through and how we're going to present efficiently between today and Friday. So all three of us will be there, and hopefully we have a very productive discussion time. And the other comment that I like to make is that yesterday during our 60th anniversary celebration meeting, a lot of residents show up and drop by our table and talk about the United Mutuals and other business, so on. And one member suggested me that, why don't we tape the town hall meeting so that those of the resident who wants to come but they did not have chance or missed the schedule, so on, and it will be very nice for them to review. And maybe, so I said, well, with the staff time, it's very hard for us to get a help. And then he was suggesting that we have so many wonderful clubs in the community. So videotaping, camera clubs, or whatever. So why don't you incorporate those helping hands among the residents and then make this thing happen so that the resident will be more, better educated or informed. And he said he also watching our board meeting all the time. And so he was very much aware of what was going on. So it was very, very interesting discussion, and it was very helpful. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I see Francis has arrived, so let's take a step back and take a look at the disciplinary report. We're moving a little fast today.
You are. I was in the middle of helping someone. I'm like, I got a minute or two.
Okay, thank you.
So my apologies.
No problem.
So good morning, board. I'm going to present to you agenda item 12B, the disciplinary update report for the month of June to August. So, and actually I won't go that far. I'll just stick to the month of August. And then we started the month with 428 cases and ended the month with 438 cases. Most of them have remained on trend, which is similar to what we experience year after year during this time of the season of the year. I just want to bring your attention to manor alteration maintenance has gone down and alteration standards has gone up. Also, the clutter items have gone up, which I think is the one that's gone up the most. And with those, the one that's clearly gone up is mostly breezeway and carport clutter. So that concludes my report, and I'm available to the board if you have any questions.
Questions for Francis on disciplinary?
Madam Chair, I do.
Yes, Ellen.
Okay, hi. I want to know, is the 438, is that a rolling from June is 401, or is that for the month?
It's a snapshot for the month that does include past cases, and it also includes your new cases.
Okay, so how many new cases were there for the month?
I don't have that at the top of, I don't have that in this report, but we're trending about 100 cases each month that are new.
How are the clutter cases reported? How do you get those?
The clutter cases are mostly, it's actually a combination of two things. One, we get the call from a resident reporting clutter, whether it be the breezeway, the common area, the carport, and then we do have 2 inspectors in the compliance division, so they will go out there to go cite the one that we got a complaint against, but they'll also walk the carport or the breezeway and cite every other unit that is in violation as well.
Okay. And one other, maintenance, is that the same as clutter, or what is maintenance?
No. So maintenance would be your items like moisture intrusion. If they're not getting any response from the residents about the dry down equipment or having an inspection of the unit, then that gets escalated to our department for action. So those are considered maintenance items.
So someone doesn't let you in for dry down, or?
Correct. So if they're like impeding services, or if they plumbing or one of the other departments needs an inspection of the unit, but the resident doesn't allow them, then after multiple calls and emails and letters, then it gets escalated to our department to start the process.
One other question, if I may.
Go ahead.
Delinquencies, you have 43. So where does it come into a delinquency? What state of delinquent?
Okay. So in your Financial Services Committee, in closed session, you get a delinquency report for assessments and chargeable services. That report also gets sent to our department. That's the triggering point for when we open a disciplinary matter against them.
Oh, so these are discipline. Okay. So delinquency is 15 days late or 30 days late, or what?
That would be up to the parameters of the Finance Committee. I know you've changed them in the past, so it's whatever directive you've given Financial Services that dictates the resident to be put on that report.
Okay. All right.
Nancy?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So, Francis, perhaps you can advise the residents with respect to the illegal occupancy. I know I have residents are suspicious of something, and what is the simplest and maybe most discreet way to address that? Is it to call security just with the manor number?
Residents have the ability to either call the compliance hotline, which is 949-268-CALL, so CALL. Residents also have the ability to send an email to compliance@bmsinc.org. And residents could also stop by. We have the compliance coordinators who are available every day during the business hours who could meet with a resident in person. So for illegal occupancies, we will take the report and the information. We will compare it against the database that we have internally. If we have any questions or need confirmation of who's living in the unit, then we'll send the inspectors out there to knock on the door and ascertain who's residing in the unit. And then that will open your a disciplinary case, and then we'll just follow it through the process until compliance is gained.
Thank you. I know some residents want to report something that they're suspicious of, but not necessarily personally be associated with the case, and they are assured their privacy, correct?
Yes. So none of our reporting parties get disclosed. That's information that the group has only internally. It's not something that we're allowed to share just because of strict confidentiality rules. If we were to ever go to court and get subpoenaed of those documents, we would redact that information, or we would reach out to the reporting parties and ask for permission to disclose their information. But that's definitely at the court level, and that's beyond this piece of what we have.
And thank you. We do encourage that because we all moved in here to be in a secure, gate-guarded area. So that is important, and that's we see in security and access. That is one of the reasons when we get an uptick. It's quite often associated with illegal occupancy. Thank you very much, Francis.
Thank you. Anything else for Francis? Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Then let's resume our agenda at 13B. Entertain a motion to approve revision to Standard 20, balcony, patio, and atrium covers. This has been on, this will start the 28-day notification process. Maggie?
Resolution 0124XX, revised Standard 20 atrium coverings. Whereas the Architectural Control and Standards Committee recognizes the need to amend standards and create new standards as necessary, and whereas the Architectural Control and Standards Committee recognizes the need to revise Standard 20 balcony, patio, and atrium covers, now therefore be it resolved November 12, 2024, the Board of Directors of this corporation hereby adopts revisions and amendments to Standard 20 atrium coverings, and resolve further Resolution 012433, adopted April 9, 2024, is hereby superseded and canceled. Resolve further that the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out this resolution. September initial notification. Should the board endorse the proposed revisions, staff recommends that a motion be made and seconded to accept the resolution and allow discussion to ensure that the resolution reads to the satisfaction of the board. Staff then recommends that a board member postpone the resolution to the next available board meeting in no less than 28 days from the postponement to comply with Civil Code 4360. I move Resolution 0124XX.
Second, thank you. Discussion, and I see Ellen is here. Can you tell us, we previously considered this in April, so what is the change now in this new resolution that we need to be aware of?
Okay.
And I appreciate the pictures that you submitted with your report.
Certainly, and good morning. Let me first just give you a general overview. So items 13, B, C, and D are all kind of intertwined here. What we're doing with Standard 20 is letting that be a standalone standard just for atriums. Atriums themselves have a specific requirement from the city and what you can do with regard to accident. So we've left that as a standalone standard and tried to explain the city code requirements for that.
Mhm.
If you have specific questions on that, I'd be happy to try and address them. Yes.
Okay. Question, Nancy?
Yes, I'm looking at page 12 of 22, 3.0B. Does it an atrium? If an atrium is covered in any way, then the atrium is no longer considered exterior open space and will directly affect any bedroom currently using an atrium as a means of egress to the outside. Most of our interior atriums had, while they were exterior, exposed to the sky, and had an adjacent room next to it as egress point. But our atriums are landlocked. So if you exit the bedroom through a window into the atrium, you had no more greater chance to get out than if the atrium was closed or not closed, by virtue of we don't have ladders in there or stairs in the atrium. And those atrium ceilings are what, 11, 12 feet tall?
Right.
So, you know, which brings me to the next point is page 13. I just want to make, I want to make that architectural point or egress point is we can't really get out now. And if you cover it, that you still have to get out by the front door in both instances.
Correct.
So I don't know if that's a city issue or if we need to bring that to their attention, because what it affects is potentially resales in the sense that you can't list it as a two-bedroom place. And your point of egress in either circumstance is really going to be your front door.
So let me, good point, and thank you for bringing that up. Let me address that. When these particular manors with atriums were originally built, they met the current egress exiting codes. They do not meet those codes by today's standard. However, the city interprets that as if they are existing and not changed. When they were built, they meet the code, so they're not going to do anything to interfere or amend that. If, however, you do make a change, in this case, we're dealing with some kind of a covering, then the current codes come into effect. So what that means is if you have a bedroom that happens to have an egress window onto an atrium, you cannot use that bedroom exit onto the atrium as their secondary exiting.
I get what you're saying, but my point still stands. Whether it was 1970 or today, there's only one point of egress. And I don't know if that's something that's we need to bring to the attention of the city. By virtue of, it has implications with respect to resales, et cetera, and how things are listed. Because my understanding is now they have to list them as one-bedroom units as opposed to a two-bedroom unit. And if you're in your kitchen, you only have one point of egress. If you're in your living room, you only have one point of egress. So we're being architecturally prejudiced by virtue of the language in the city. And is that something that we address, or is that something the city has to address?
The city only requires specific egress requirements for bedrooms. Specifically, they need two exits. One is the entrance into the bedroom itself, but they also require a secondary exit through a window. For right now, if a bedroom is on an open atrium and has not been changed, the city is allowing that to remain. The minute that a member decides to enclose the atrium, however, the whole exiting criteria for a bedroom comes into play. And that bedroom would either need to be relocated or reclassified in order to meet those exiting requirements.
Well, I still bring this to the attention.
Ellen?
Okay. We had a long discussion about this in Architectural Committee, and you say reclassified. That means we could market our property with one bedroom and a den. So it could be reclassified as a den or an office, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Okay.
City's only requirement is for bedrooms.
Okay. My second observation is page 13 of 22, item 3.3, item D. All coverings shall not extend above the height of the existing roof structure. We had a rather infamous case in United in the last year where somebody's atrium roof collapsed because it was below the ceiling height, the roof height. So, do you remember this case, Allison?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And am I citing it correctly?
I don't remember all the details. Do you remember?
But it was the roof on the atrium.
No, okay.
It was a
Yeah.
bit below the exterior, so it
Right.
held water and collapsed. So this suggests that that could happen again by this particular architectural provision.
I see Tony is shaking his head. Do you recall the details of this, or is it relevant to our discussion now? Which
Well, I
think
don't know,
it is.
because at that particular case, the whole way it was put in was questionable.
Okay.
The materials and the construction was
Right.
questionable.
Right, I understand. Okay, anything else on this? Okay, are we ready to vote on this? Okay, all those in favor? We have our screen or not? Is it working, Paul?
It should be on, yeah.
Okay,
We're good. Motion passes.
okay, thank you. And 13C, patio and balcony awnings.
Resolution 0124XX, revised standard 34, patio and balcony coverings. Whereas the United Laguna Woods Mutual recognizes the need to amend standards and create new standards as necessary, and whereas the Mutual recognized the need to revise standard 34, patio and balcony awnings, now therefore be it resolved November 12, 2024, the Board of Directors of this corporation hereby adopts revisions and amendments to Standard 34, patio and balcony coverings as attached to the official minutes of this meeting, and resolve further Resolution 012470, adopted July 9, 2024, is hereby superseded and canceled, and resolve further that the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out this resolution. Should the board endorse the proposed revisions, staff recommends that a motion be made and seconded to accept the resolution and allow discussion to ensure the resolution reads to the satisfaction of the board. Staff then recommends that a board member postpone the resolution to the next available board meeting, no less than 28 days from the post moment, to comply with Civil Code 4360. I move this resolution.
Is there a second? Mickey seconds, thank you. Discussion? Okay, questions for Alan? Okay, we ready to vote? We shall proceed to vote. Thank you. And 13D.
President Bach, your
Yes.
vote. And I didn't get your vote on that one. There we go. We're good.
Okay. Thank you. 13D.
Resolution 0124XX rescinds Standard 39, balcony and patio enclosures. Whereas the United Laguna Woods Mutual recognizes the need to review standards as necessary, whereas the Mutual recently revised the language in Standard 34, patio and balcony coverings, to incorporate processes currently contained in Standard 39, balcony and patio enclosures, and whereas the aforementioned integration of procedures would create a duplication of information, the Mutual recognizes the need to rescind Standard 39, balcony and patio enclosures. Now therefore be it resolved November 12, 2024, the Board of Directors of this corporation hereby rescinds Standard 39 balcony and patio enclosures as attached to the official minutes of this meeting, and resolve further that Resolution 02434, adopted April 9, 2024, is hereby canceled, and resolve further that the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out this resolution. September initial notification. Should the board endorse the proposed revisions, staff recommends that a motion be made and seconded to accept the resolution and allow discussion to ensure that the resolution reads to the satisfaction of the board. Staff then recommends that a board member postpone the resolution to the next available board meeting, no less than 28 days from the postponement, to comply with Civil Code 4360. I move this resolution.
Is there a second? Sue, thank you. Discussion? This is a housekeeping matter, Nancy.
Yeah, just quickly, I want to point out we've had some really hot weather, and a lot of people have patio enclosures. It's becoming more and more prevalent, and some people are installing the little air conditioners or the mini split in there. And I don't see a reason why they shouldn't be able to do that. They're paying the electricity on it, and if we're moving into hot weather and these patio enclosures are getting more expensive, they're adding to their real estate, so to speak. So I don't think expanding the footprint and these patio enclosures are really quite nice. I don't agree that on 3.0 applications 3.3, which is, however, in no case shall the enclosure encroach any, oh, excuse me, it's that, or that they can add any HVAC equipment.
Okay, Ellen, any reply to that?
Certainly. It has to do with the how the building department interprets an add-on building versus an enclosure that's used for recreational space. If you start adding heating and cooling to that space, that then falls under different criteria and will be viewed by the city as additional structural space, which will require totally different building guidelines. So the criteria for a balcony enclosure is that any heating and cooling be done by natural open windows.
Well, it says patio enclosures too, so it's not just balcony.
I'm sorry, balcony and patio. Same criteria.
Sue? Ellen, how does this work? If people wanted to put air conditioning or heat in that area, could they do so under a different criteria and have that work for them?
Well, the short answer is yes. The more complete definition, however, is once you do that, the city views that as added square footage to your building. So they're going to look at that request. You have the proper footings. Is it tied into the building correctly? It's a whole different set of criteria versus adding on a balcony covering / balcony patio enclosure. They term that as outdoor recreational use, and that falls under different building criteria.
And that would have tax implications, Orange County tax implications as well.
Well, there would be a lot more than that if you're adding square footage to your manor. Several other things come into play.
It would be very complicated. Yeah, Nancy?
Yeah, I just, for the record, that their conventional method to heat and air conditioning was to vent, to put in a venting system, ductwork, et cetera. But these, with the contemporary small, and they're getting smaller, mini splits, you can effectively air condition and heat a place. I've got a patio that's 21 by 15 or at least, and that would, if that was enclosed as a room, that would be nice additional living space that a patio enclosure could satisfy. But in this heat, it would be untenable unless it had some. And so I would suggest that that's something that, in dealing with the city, that whoever is our liaison address.
So let me address it this way. That's why we have the variance process. If a member did want to submit for a balcony or patio enclosure and insisted on having it heated and cooled mechanically, we can certainly go through the variance process and go through that process and then go through the city, if that is the process they would like to do.
Okay, thank you. Let us vote on this amendment, or this revision, rather. Okay. All in? Thank you. All right. Moving on to 13E. We will examine the United 2025 business plan. This is otherwise known as the operating plan. We have a motion to do that.
Resolution.
Yeah, sorry.
Resolution 0124XX 2025 Business Plan Resolution. Resolved September 10th, 2025, that the business plan of this corporation for the year 2025 is hereby adopted and approved, and resolved further that pursuant to said business plan, the Board of Directors of this corporation hereby estimates that the net sum of $58,893,682 is required by the corporation to meet the United Laguna Woods Mutual operating expenses, reserve contributions, and restricted fund contributions for operating deficit. For the year 2025, after adding $900,000 derived from the current year's projected operating deficit. In addition, the sum of $18,072,039 is required by the corporation to meet the Golden Rain Foundation and the Golden Rain Foundation Trust operating expenses and reserve contributions for the year 2025. Therefore, a total of $76,965,721 is required to be collected from and paid by the members of the corporation as monthly assessments. And resolved further that the Board of Directors of this corporation hereby approves expenditures in the amount of $16,860,082 from the reserve fund and $14,723,409 from the property taxes fund, and resolve further that the Board of Directors of this corporation hereby determines and establishes monthly assessments of the corporation as shown on each member's breakdown of monthly assessments for the year 2025. Inclusive of property taxes and property insurance, as filed in the records of the corporation, and said assessments to be due and payable by the members of this corporation on the first day of each month, and resolved further that officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out the purpose of this resolution. I move this resolution.
Is there a second? Okay, discussion. Tom?
Yes, I want to propose an amendment. I move to amend the 2025 United Business Plan with the deletion of the $485,000 increase to the line item that's listed as 2 shrub bed service cycles on the summary page. And for that item, resulting basically in a reduction of $485,000 to the overall amount, which is a $6.39 per man or per month decrease to the 2025 business plan.
I second. Nancy. Okay, discussion.
Yes, I didn't understand where this money is coming from.
It was becoming, if I may,
Go ahead,
It'd be
Tom.
coming from what's listed on page 4 of 24 of 13E1 as increase of 2 shrub bed service cycles, $485,000 increase.
Okay. Sue?
If I may, can we ask Kurt to come up and talk about what this, the effect this would have?
Let's go through the board
No.
here first. We have Tony, you have a comment?
Are we cutting services by doing this?
No, we are failing to increase them. They remain level. Right now, we get 4 shrub service cycles per year. The budget that was presented in the motion here, in the resolution, would increase that to 6 cycles per year.
Right.
Our amended resolution would bring us to where we are today and save almost $500,000 from the proposed budget.
Thank you.
Mickey?
Yes, we've been working this very hard. Like I mentioned before, from May through until last week, and we tried to accommodate all the business plan and services which was presented by the department. So we try to do our best to put all the numbers together here. So, but as you know, because of our deficit for 2 years, 2023, 2024, which we did not anticipate at all. In 2023, the previous board decided that we had $7 of surplus. So we put it back to the reserve account, which was not found to be true. So we had to spit out. Not only that, we have to add another additional that's the same $7 to the 2024 budget, which is deficit again. So that was about $14 more than that, right? So when you look at that chart that Tom mentioned on page 4 of 24 of agenda item 13E1, you could see from there, right? So first, elimination of the 2024 budget operating surplus, and then conclusion, and then in addition to that, the 2024, we expected $100 million of, $1 million of the damage restoration from the moisture intrusion. So we added that budget, 2024, which is not to be non-zero because all the project was done by 2024. So that's why we are facing this enormous problem to increase our assessment this year. And so we realized that, we have a big fire in our front yard. And not only that, Tropical Canyon, allegorical, example. So, in addition, we are not cutting any service. We wanted to add the 2 extra cycles, but I don't think this is the right timing. And we have to extinguish the fire first and then beautify our landscaping. So one who does not want to have more services so that our atmosphere, our garden, our landscaping, is beautiful so that we could enjoy it. So we are suggesting that this year is not the good timing after we settle down. And so $6.30 from PM need to be reduced at this time for this year. And then we will continue to discuss in the later time. That's why we are proposing it. And I am for the motion.
Okay, Maggie?
We discussed this thoroughly. This is $6.39 a month. That is a cup of coffee. I think the members would prefer to have service. They've spoken to us many times in landscaping, telling us they want, in essence, more service. So we agreed to give them more service. I think for $6.39, our members will not crucify us for that additional 2 rounds a year. Thank you.
Nancy?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Practically speaking, this is the same service plan that we've had this year. Mm-hmm. We increased it earlier in the year, and if you recall, we had an excessive amount of rain last year, so we had a lot of exceptional plant growth. This year, we've turned into a quasi-drought year. So we don't see, on a practical level, that it's essential for us to add 2 landscaping cycles to what we already have. We're already seeing a diminished rainfall that's projected. I don't have a crystal ball, but the trajectory is that this is a good decision. You're getting the same services. The plant growth isn't anticipated to be quite what it was. And this is a significant economic savings to United Mutual and to address our financial situation and considerations that we're focusing on our reserves and building them. And this is in the best interests of the residents and the United Mutual.
Sue? If I could, I am the chairman of the Landscape Committee. And essentially, by never increasing the services that people repeatedly request, they come before our committee and they say, we want to have our bushes cut. We want the suckers of the trees to be cut. We want all of this. And this just cripples us. It continues to cripple us in addressing their concerns. And I agree with Maggie, at $6.39, we have this ability to provide this service. We have not provided increased services to them in a long time. It's just pro forma, and we continue to do it. Then last year and the year before, there was a huge outcry by Third and United members that they wanted to get outside mowing. And this would allow us to do that. We could transfer our funds so that we could transfer staff to be able to better maintain our lawns and our trees and our shrubs and get the complaints down by the people who really want the service. I think it's just short-sighted not to do this. And every year we try to get additional service for this, and every year we're told, no, we can't do that.
Okay.
So do we say to our members, give up all hope? This will never improve. This is just the way it's going to be.
Jana?
We have an aging community. We have a lot of people living here who have been here for 35 years or longer. They're on a fixed income. My guess their bank account may not be the size of some of the rest of us. And we need to be sensitive to this. We're watching as certain amenities are underpriced, significantly underpriced. And so that's falling on the backs of people who are just regular people like us or who maybe been retired a lot longer. And they're thinking, I plan to stay here for the rest of my life. Now I don't think I can afford to stay. And so they can't afford to buy, so they'll end up moving out and renting. And, well, where can you rent? I mean, the rents are sky high. So the whole thing is, it's a matter of being sensitive. This would cost each manor $76 a year. Yes, $6.99 a month, $76 a year. And then on the equestrian center, that's $48 a year. What else can we pull out of here? We need to be looking at all these itemized costs in the budget because everything's all put together. I want to see the individual costs. We need to look and see what can we cut out, not what we can add. And here we're not lowering the amount of service. And if somebody wants the extra shrubbing or trimming, they can hire someone to do it. But I think we've got, where does this stop? That's the whole point. And I don't know, I'm happy to keep it at the level we've got, and if anybody wants to pay a gardener to do something, they're free to. But right now, everything's on the back of people who are significantly older.
Maggie? It is our fiscal duty to charge what United needs. It is not our fiscal duty to rip off GRF.
Oh.
So,
what?
If you want to say that GRF has to quit some amenities and
Point of
quit
order.
services, stop it. It is our duty to charge what we must to run United. There should be no discussion about GRF anything during our United Meeting budget conversations. Thank you.
Nancy, you next.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm fundamentally come back to want versus need. We don't need to do it. I've just explained in simple terms what our situation was, what our situation is now. We are not denying people service. We are not doing service plus plus, which is what that called for. We are saving the money and we're reinvesting it and saving it in reserves where we need it. We do not know what we will be facing next year in the unknown. So if we have an area that we can reduce a potential luxury increase, which this would be, because we've always had this is a cycle that we've had before, we should proceed on that path. Again, want versus need. Director Quam wants to have this for particular people based on the committee she goes to. I have not heard these complaints.
Tom, you had your hand up.
Yeah, I'd just like to remind everybody, this is just about balancing our service and our costs. It's not a bad thing. These are good ideas. There's lots of good ideas that we could spend lots of money on out there, on the building structures, the landscaping, all kinds of things. They're good ideas. We just have to balance that with the cost that we believe is right. In this case, I believe it's best to delete the $485,000. Not that that's a bad service. It'd be a great service to have, but I don't think we can afford it at this point in time.
Paul, you had.
Yeah, I just want to let you know we have 4 member comments when you're ready.
Okay.
I have a board.
Yes, we'll work through the board.
Yes, I hope this will close our board discussion and we will listen to the resident. We will have a detailed discussion during our town hall meeting on Friday. However, I have statistics from 2015 through 2025. United Mutual, the assessment, basic assessment changes. And it's starting from 2015, the average whole assessment increase rate come out to be 4.2%, but this year 14.6%. And if I just read it briefly, minus 1.7%, 0%, 2.1, 1.7, 4.10, 2, 4.9, 3.9, 14.6. I mean, because up to last year, our increase rate is very, very low. It was only 2.3%, was lower than CPI, our inflation rate. So we have been doing very well in terms of the increasing the assessment fee. However, we now know our reserve fund is so low, and plus this big 2 years of deficit. So I totally agree that we want to increase the service to our resident, but this year is not the time. After we settle down, we could always do that. And so with the increasing 14%, 6% this year, it will go up to 4.2%. From 2.3%, almost double. Yep. We are doing it this year. So, which is a kind of crisis, and we don't want to do that, but it is realistic. We have to face it. Somebody has to put outside, dig out from our dungeon, in a way. That's my point. So, yes, we will do it in the future, and we are not cutting down the service. We are keeping it, but we do our best. So I do hope all the board understand and then vote for it. Thank you.
Okay. Member comment?
Okay. First member is Dick Rader.
Good morning. Dick Rader, 270D. I attended the budget meetings, and I don't think it's really been made clear, except just maybe initially just now. According to what I heard, Director Tuning did not want to just eliminate the funds. He wanted to reallocate the funds. Is that correct? Director Tuning, is that correct? Did you want to, the reason for that you stated last time was that you wanted to take the money that is being discussed for shrubbery and put it into reserves. Is that your intent now?
I'll let Steve answer for me. I have executive amnesia, I think.
Well, then I think that this is the elephant in the room, because the elephant in the room is most residents do not know that our reserve fund is in extreme distress. Yes. And the last argument was over whether the funds should be reallocated at this particular moment in time to the reserve fund. And that's what I heard, and I think that's what should be being discussed. Not just this particular item in isolation. It has to be looked at the total budget in total, and whether you're going to take the funds and reduce it by $6 and whatever, and then what happens to the reserve fund. I won't go into detail. Maybe Steve can tell us how dangerous it is not to continue to try to increase the reserve fund.
Steve?
I'll speak to both points. At the last budget meeting, the recommendation or the amended motion that came before the board was from yourself, to take money and move it over to the reserve. So effectively holding the line on the 20% increase. So the amended motion today is to reduce by the $6.39 and just reduce it flat. So rather than having a 20% increase, you'll be at 18.5, right? So that is the matter today. So the other issue that we're all aware of is the necessity to put more money into your reserves. So, but respectfully, like, you are actively doing that in this budget, right? You have increased it. You have a plan over the next few years to increase it over time to get to where you need to be. Again, a plan in place. Up to the board, how you see fit to whether you want to move the money into the reserves or just keep it the way that you have it as the amended motion right now.
Thank you. Next.
Next speaker is Dr. Robert Reyes.
A few years ago, we had a big issue regarding the canary pine trees. A lot of you weren't directors. And our landscape department was overwhelmed with tickets, AKA work orders. So that board told Kurt, come back and let us know how many of the pine trees we can remove. The residents got wind of it, and they came and they said, you're not touching our trees. So you allowed DUCA to create a urban forest plan, which was on the cutting edge and very progressive. It was amazing. Kurt did an amazing job. I did an amazing job. Yeah. Did we not? And you approved the budget, and I think we started with 20,000, ended up with 40,000 paying, and we never addressed the issue of the tickets that started the whole thing. Right. Kurt came before you and said, please give me 2 more gardeners to address the issue, Sue, that residents keep calling and asking and demanding because you represent us. And Tom, you said no, right? Because you didn't want us to spend $2 more per manor. I'll give you what you need just to cover that. Shame on you.
Next.
Next speaker is Cynthia Rupert.
It's not my voices this time. Let's see if that works. Okay. First thing I want to say is, as a board member, the #1 complaint I get around here is for landscaping. #1 over anything else. And, you know, all the dry down, all the issues we have that come up, the pipes, whatever, they're all underneath.
Cynthia, could you just speak to the mic?
Into the mic.
Into the mic?
Yes.
Thank you.
It moves.
All right. Is that better?
Yes.
Come closer.
And
Closer.
Don't talk away.
Sorry. I'm a vocal head first. Okay, so to me, as a board member and as a resident here, I constantly heard this complaint over and over and over. The area I live in is not exactly the same design as everywhere else in here. We have different flora all over this community. Some areas need more help than others. If you come, well, I'm in the back corner. You can't even see me. Beautiful. But my landscaping is not. We do need trimming constantly. It doesn't happen. Everybody has to call in. That takes more time, more money, more energy to get these individual tickets done than it would to just make this part of the process. We do need to increase our landscaping budget, the landscaping that we used to have. We had, what, 4 cycles now, and we used to have 12, or I don't even know how many. It's all been cut back. I understand that $6, almost $7 is very important to most people. It's important to me. But we have a duty to keep our amenities at a certain level so that we have the resale value in this community that we want to have. And it's an incentive for people to buy in here. When they come in here and they see the beautiful landscaping, it's part of our package that we supply to people. Taking that away takes resources, takes assets, it takes money out of pockets. So I think the $6 is minimal compared to what is going on for everything else. I highly recommend that you guys keep these extra cycles in, and more if you can. The other thing I want to say is cleaning up this debris helps prevent fires. If for God knows some reason we had a fire breakout in here and we did not have good cleanup, the increased amount of damage is astronomical. If we maintain, as you say, it's going to be drier next year or hotter next year and we're in a drought, that's going to really make a difference in what happens as far as this cleanup. I think you need to consider the long-term goal here. And there's several factors that I think are important. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yes, last speaker is Marge Huggins.
Okay, I hope I can make my message clear. I think part of the problem is the owners of the units. Now, I have neighbors that go to a Home Depot and they buy all these pots, setting them around. They've extended their landscape out, not what we put in, but way beyond, and they're full of whatever. So between Hobby Lobby and Home Depot, they have made it very hard for our workers. I mean, it looks like they would have to spend an hour at each person's home to clean up that stuff. So the compliance that we have for our carports should be in our yards. I have a neighbor that has a new myrtle in the center of her yard, and she's got a little wagon in there, all these little flags, all these little critters. How are the maintenance people going to deal with that? So I say go back and take a look at what's costing all the time for the maintenance people and make it easy on them instead of us saying, oh, we just want all this little frill. The other thing is I don't see them trimming 4 times a year. I see maybe twice. So I don't get validation on that. But mostly, and then what they do is poor quality, but it could be caused by the homeowner having all this stuff all extended out. So that needs to be looked at before we start getting more service in there and more costs. And the other thing is the sprinkling. I'm very fortunate. I have a really good sprinkler manager. And I put construction paper along my wall. So when the sprinklers come in, I can see whether that gets wet. I don't, just a couple times a year to make sure that nothing is spraying my house, which cuts back on this dry rot if I get that in there.
Good idea.
So I think we need to think what's causing this stuff versus let's just add more workers and more of this. Find the problem first is my idea. Did I do good?
Thank you,
okay.
Marge. Thank you. Thank you.
So it looks like we actually have one more speaker, Marie Collins.
I heard Mr. Tuning say one of the most important things I've heard here, that we need to compare need and luxury. We're in dire straits right now for money, and we need to first consider need. Then if we got some money left over, I got lots of good ideas, and I'm sure all of you do. But need, we've got to, you got to look line item and do need.
Thank you. Tom?
Yeah, I'd like to, since Dick refreshed my memory a little bit, I wanted to clarify what he was saying because sometimes I'm not always clear. But Dick, are you referring to being able to take the $6.39 per man or per month and being able to put it into the reserves if we're reducing the operating budget. Is that what you're referring to?
I am.
Dick.
No, it's Dick Ray.
Dick Rader.
Not you, Marie.
Not you, Marie. Dick.
Do you want me to respond?
No,
Yeah.
Dick Rader.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm such a hog.
I'm just refreshing your memory. I think it's up to the board to make the decision. But the fact is, we have limited funds. And what I want to say is this, and I need to add it right now. Anybody coming into this community, when they buy in, they're giving a packet. Included in that packet is a disclosure, I believe, of the wealth, of the health, or not health, of our reserve funds. Right now, if you look at it, it's in what is called the red color. It's so close to the red color, the closest I've ever seen. When it's in the red, what that means is, to the person viewing it, it says, you are in danger of a special assessment. If that ever occurred in this village, I could tell you what will happen. Immediately, you will see people avoiding here, because if you don't have enough funds to run your village, they don't want to come in here with the fear of another special assessment. That is why it's up to you guys to decide how to allocate the money. And I'm saying, I'll end here, you cannot divorce the issue of extra shrubbery from the discussion of where the money should go, maybe into reserves. So I urge you as a board to look at it in totality, not separately.
Thank you, Dick. I just finished my comments then on that. Basically, and Steve, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but we're basically $30 per man or per month short in our reserve to balance the reserve budget right now. We'd need another $30 per man or per month to run a balanced budget. We're running a deficit and have run a deficit for 5 years or something like that. So until we balance that budget, our reserve funds are going down and down, and that's what pays for our pipelining, our structures on our building, our damage restoration, all that kind of stuff. And until we fix that reserve budget, we're going to continue to have a problem. And we're $30 per man or per month short right now on that.
Ellen, I think your hand was next.
Yes, I had my hand up, but it's not about reserves. I attend the third landscape committee, and they get a report that tells you how many tickets are reported out there for needle pickup or clipping pickup. I don't think I've ever seen that at the landscape committee. Sue, I don't know if you get that it's really a detailed report. And if we were to get that, then we would know where these services are required and what is needed. But I support the fact of putting that money in reserves and not support the 2 extra services for shrub bed. So.
Okay. Tony?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm confused now. First we started talking about an amendment.
Right.
And now we're talking about adding money to the reserves. Could you clear that up for me, please?
Okay. Mickey?
Yes, just clarification. Yes, budget the version 4, the meeting, that we clearly voted that we're going to put 2 rounds of expense to the reserve fund so that we keep the reserve fund. And however, this new amendment is not that, just cutting operating budget totally, and then we are reducing our assessment fee, because we are totally aware of the reserve plan, but we are going to increase that one. So I think we need to, parliamentary procedure-wise, that original the amendment, we have to vote it, whether we're going to re-amend. So let us do that.
Okay. Tony?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to ask, in our budget already, Steve, aren't we already putting $14 into the reserve? Can we put more in there without getting sideways with the law?
Law is not
The short answer is yes. If you wanted to put more money into the reserve, of course, there's no restriction on. Your limitation is the 20%, right? So with the amended motion right now, you're at 18.5. If you were to move the $6.39 elsewhere,
Yeah.
our recommendation would be either continue doing with the increase in the shrub beds or put it in the reserves. But that was voted on in the previous meeting, and it was voted down.
Tom, do you want to revise your amendment?
No, I don't. I just want to clarify that
Yeah.
first it takes this amendment to be approved before we can make an amendment to
Exactly.
the
Yes,
reserve
I think
fund
so. Right. Yep.
to have
Exactly.
it added. If this amendment does not go through, then we have no room to
Right.
add to the reserve funds.
Right.
If this amendment goes through, then
Yes.
on our next item that we're going
Yes.
to consider, we could consider an amendment to that for
That's correct.
$6.39
I think so.
per man or
Can
per
we
month.
have a rereading of the amendment?
I have Director Tuning requested to remove the $485,000 increase to the line item in the business plan, resulting in a savings of $6.39 per manor per month, with Director Carlson, who seconded the amendment.
Okay. Are we ready to vote that? Sue, you have something else?
Yes, I do. I wanted to make clear that we are putting $15 in the reserve, are we not? And then we voted for next year that we go to $30.
No.
No, that's not right.
Is that not right? I thought we did that in the discussion.
No.
So we were limited because of the 20%. So as of right now, you're looking at a 14 year-over-year increase.
Okay.
So if you were to turn to page 23 of 24, there is under the definitions of funds, you can see the anticipated, nothing approved by the board, but the anticipated increases. So beginning in 2026, it'll be a $15, 2027, another $15.
Right.
Okay.
To
All
get you
right.
out of the red.
Thank you. And then I could see how the vote is going to go on this, so but I just want to remind you that $6.39 is a lot better than paying a gardener $80, $120 in order to keep their area clear from debris. And so when you say you're trying to protect them, you are costing them more if they choose to keep up their areas, because that is what our neighbors pay. So I know where the vote is going, but I just wanted to make that statement.
Thank you. I'd like to call the vote. All those in favor of the amendment as read?
Director Kale, your vote, please. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Amended motion passes.
Motion passes. Okay, thank you. Then we need an additional motion to pass the resolution as amended. Tom?
Do we need a vote on the main motion?
That's right, the
Yes.
main motion.
Yes.
Right, okay, which has been seconded with the amendment now. So are we ready to vote that? Okay,
What
please.
is the, what is
To approve the business plan of this corporation for year 2025.
As amended.
As amended.
As amended, yes.
You see.
Director Kale, your vote, please.
Sorry, just
Yeah.
a point of clarification, because we're going to end up rewriting these resolutions. If your intention is that you're going to now increase your contribution to reserves, right now would be a good time to do it, because this resolution would also be affected.
Yeah, this is coming up, I think. This is our next agenda item.
But this resolution that you're voting on that was just read, that just amended, will also be affected because it takes into consideration all of your contributions.
Okay. I'm not sure I'm understanding what we need at this point, Jose.
If you were going to...
Yes,
well,
move it to reserves.
yes, then right now would be a good time to do it, to
Okay.
amend this current resolution. to include that.
Okay, do I have? So move, second. Tom, thank you. Those in favor? Okay, please vote. Okay, all approved? Okay. We have one Vidges not approving, one abstain, and one no vote, okay. Motion passes. Thank you. Okay.
That was the amended one, so we have to do another one.
Right.
Then we're going to do one more vote.
Sorry?
We're going to vote one more time. Is that
Yes,
correct?
to pass the whole
Okay.
thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Please post the vote.
And I'm sorry, who moved for this one?
Tom?
Yeah, a point of information here. We passed the amendment.
Right.
What I heard is we need to make another amendment or not, that we're going to move the 639 to the reserve fund per man per month.
Yes.
Correct. And the reason being is in the original resolution, it references total contribution. So both operating and reserve.
Right.
So to Jose's point, and I believe that may have been what you just voted on a moment ago. That was so forgive us.
No,
We'll need another record.
I think we passed an amendment, if I can point of information here. And now we either vote on the main motion or we make another amendment, which I'm believe that Nancy
She
made
just
and
did.
I seconded, and we need to vote on that amendment. And that amendment would say to move the 639 per man or per month from the operating to the reserve. Is that correct?
Yeah. So actually, the resolution, the next resolution, entertain an E2, entertain a motion to
Yes.
approve 2025 United Reserve Funding Plan. That is the place that we are talking about, right? So,
No. Unfortunately, apologies for the complications, but given the fact this first resolution
Yeah.
speaks to, it's primarily operating, but we
Right,
do reference
exactly.
total contribution. When you get to the E-2, you will also need to make a recommendation there.
Exactly.
It seems a duplication, but
Yeah.
just the way the resolution is worded. So we do apologize, but yes, you
Yeah,
will need to
that-
make it twice.
I mean, why don't we just move it to the next resolution then? Why we need that amendment and so on? I mean, we can make an amendment to that second resolution.
Yeah, regarding reserves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if I don't mean to overcomplicate it. So whatever the board
Yeah,
chooses, we'll make the changes to the resolution accordingly.
Correct.
Yes,
Point,
I think
point
that
of
is-
information, I think we need to make the amendment in both places.
Okay.
One because of total
Yeah.
per man or per month,
Yeah,
and one because of
Exactly,
the specific reserve fund.
Okay.
So at this point, we should be voting on Nancy's amendment
Right.
for the total amount.
Okay.
All right.
Is that clear? All right. Can we have a rereading of the motion to approve 13E? Entertain motion to approve Business Plan 2, Reserve Funding Plan. Okay. No, this isn't it.
No, I believe the amended
No.
motion that we should be voting on
Right.
is that, if I can summarize Nancy's motion, is that the $6.39 that we're removing from the per man or per month from the operating will be moved as a contribution to the reserve fund. If that passes, then we'll vote on the main motion. And then when we go to the next item about the reserve fund, we will have to put the similar amendment in to pass it there also.
Okay.
Correct me if
Yeah.
I'm wrong on that.
Tom's correct.
That's right.
He summarized it correctly.
Yep, okay. Mickey, are you satisfied?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
right.
Okay, fine, parliamentary. All right, let us vote then. Okay, unanimous?
We're still missing Anthony's vote.
Sorry?
We're -1.
Oh, okay, Tony, all right, thank
There
you.
we go.
Pearl, thank you. All right, moving on then to the next resolution.
Point of information,
One more?
now the main motion.
Yeah. Okay, now the
Yes.
main motion. All right, now the main motion to approve with these two changes. Okay, we're ready to vote? Thank you.
And Anthony, your vote, please.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to section 13E, reserves. Maggie, would you read the resolution, please?
13E?
Reserves, yes. Reserve fund resolution, yes.
No. 13E.
Reserves. There's two parts to 13E, operating and reserves.
Page what?
3 of 14.
3 of 14, I can lend you mine.
13E2.
Here we go.
Thank you.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Thank you. Resolution 0124XX 2025 Reserve Fund Resolution. Whereas Civil Code 5570 requires specific reserve funding disclosure statements for common interest developments, whereas planned assessment or other contributions to reserves must be projected to ensure balances will be sufficient at the end of each year to meet the corporation's obligation for repair and/or replacement of major components during the next 30 years, and now therefore be it resolved September 10th, 2024, that pursuant to Civil Code 5570, the Board hereby adopts the 30-year alternate reserve funding plan attached for fiscal year 2025, and resolve further that the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out the purpose of this resolution. I move this resolution.
Second? Nikki, thank you. Sorry, amendment, Tom?
Yes, I move to amend this resolution to add the additional $6.39 per man per month in assessment, as long as it doesn't go over the 20% guideline for special assessment.
Thank you. Discussion? Okay. Ready to vote? Call the vote. All those in favor, please look at your ballots. Okay.
So President Bach and Director Blackwell, please.
Okay, passed.
Main motion now?
We now approve the main motion to approve the reserve fund resolution as amended, which means that we will be making a contribution in 2025 of $20.39 a month to reserve funds. This raises it from $14 that was in the original budget to $20.39 and gets us closer to where we need to be on that balanced budget. Thank you.
Anthony and Maggie.
Okay, thank you. All right. Director's comments. We're on to item 14. Any comments, Mickey?
Yes, after this budget, we kind of feel relieved. Yeah. And we've been working very hard, not only Finance Committee, but also all the board members. I mean, we had so many meetings and over we studied and discussed it and came to the conclusion. So I salute our work, and we've been working very with transparency and honesty. And it's been a hard decision after we got this book, which was unexpected deficit. So, you know, we are here, and we need to work hard for the future. I mean, better service and more service with the, you know, minimum increase of assessment fees. So I'd like to thank the staff members and Finance Committee and board members and also advisors. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Pearl?
I have a question to Paul. I didn't get the information on the first open forum speaker who was going through a lot of frustration on the repair.
Her name is Cheryl Garcia.
Okay. Now, she apparently requested her first work in March, and still going through a lot of issues. Are you going to let us know what has been?
I will provide you an update.
Okay.
Yes,
thank you so much.
Okay. Tony?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to, for the people at home too, we had a meeting last Friday, corporate members. 18 directors ignored the residents' demands, as was outlined in the hundreds of petitions submitted long before this meeting was called, along with the gallery of people who came there. It was, in fact, a case of failure to perform as a fiduciary. Directors are fiduciaries that act at the behest of their clients and disregard their own agents. So that's all I have.
Other director comments? Maggie?
Two things. First, the budget. I'm glad that we're arguing over money for the landscape and money for the reserves. Those are two major quality items. The fact that we're looking at those and paying attention to those instead of saying cut the assessments is a good fight.
Right.
And the second thing is, I don't think any director should ever have to face recall for doing their duty to their corporation as best they can. They might be excited sometimes because they're under attack all the time, and they should, of course, maintain their good composure, but they don't. And I believe that we cannot fault people in other corporations for trying to protect their corporations. Thank you.
Okay, Ellen?
Maggie, I don't think this is the place to be talking about another corporation. You reprimanded Georgiana for talking about...
Point of order. We're not
Okay,
supposed to be talking across about
I'm giving my comments. I'm giving my comments.
Thank you. Anyone else? I just have a comment myself, and that is on the topic of reserves. When you look at recent history, there were 2 years where nothing went into reserves. 3 years, 2 years, 3 years, Mickey? Yeah, nothing. The budgets that were voted in by previous boards for reasons at the time put absolutely $0 into reserves. Now that has brought us to the point where we are today. Not only having to spend money for necessary repairs and capital expenses, but the fact that in the very recent past, nothing was put into reserves. So we're getting there by this year, by looking ahead to 2025, going to $20.39. As Tom noted, it would take $30 a year to get us to an even balanced budget based on expenditures, capital expenditures that we know are coming up. So keep that in mind. Budgeting has a very, very long tail on it. That dog has a long tail. And so we're trying to be responsible and look for the future, not only the near future, but the longer term. So thank you. Do we want to take a break, or Georgiana, do you have one more?
Yes, this is just sort of related to the DMV thing that was talked about earlier. I think we do need a DMV, but I think the one that currently exists now should be allowed to shut down. I've never been to a place that was so ill. It was just, I went there when I had to renew my license a year ago. Normally I would go down to San Clemente because you're going to have a smaller line there, you'd think. Anyway, I went there because I didn't feel up to driving anywhere. So I went there. It was 3 hours. I was treated, it was reverse racism on steroids. And then when I went for my vision test, I was told when I could speak and when I could not. Now, anyone who knows me knows that doesn't fly. But when it came to my driver's license, oh, yes, sir, whatever you want. And so it was incredibly dysfunctional. And there was a woman in front of me from Belgium, and she was just there to change some paperwork. She was getting married or something. I mean, the treatment we got, the wait, it was incredibly dysfunctional. These employees should not have been working with the public. And so I think we do need a DMV, but the one that's in existence is totally unacceptable.
Tom?
Yeah, I would like to just thank the Landscape Committee, and I know Kurt's not here, but even Kurt, because when we do have issues in landscape and that, we do want to hear what the solution is to solve the problem. And so I thank you for that, and I wouldn't want to see anything done differently, that you don't propose changes that would be beneficial to us. But then we have the responsibility, the fiduciary responsibility is, can we afford it compared to other things that we have to put the money into? So I just want to make sure that you're clear. We thank you for your service on the Landscape Committee especially, and for Kurt and what he does. Proposing solutions is what it's all about. Not that we always accept them, but we thank you for proposing them.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Siobhan?
I just wanted to let you know that we have the fire resources on the screen before you, and the best way to get updated information is to enroll in what is called Alert OC. That's the last bullet point on the screen before you. You can get real-time alerts.
Okay, thank you. We can do one of two things. We can take a 5-minute break, or we can press on through United Committee reports. What do you want to do, folks? Press on? Press on, okay. Finance Committee, Nikki.
5 minutes.
Oh, you 5 minutes, wait a minute, okay.
5 minutes break?
Okay, 5-minute recess. Okay.
I was giving Mickey 5 minutes.
Oh.
Oh.
Okay.
us treasurer's report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Treasurer's report. We have a slide, please. Okay. Mike. Oh, all right. Slide, we have it. All right. Through the reporting period of July 31, 2024, total revenue for United was $32.2 million compared to the expense of $31.8 million, resulting in net revenue of $335,000. Next slide shows, in finance, we keep a close eye on the operating portion of our financial results. The operating fund without depreciation shows a deficit of $166,000 through the reporting period. This table shows how much of our revenue went into operations, with $14.7 million coming in from assessments and $994,000 coming from non-assessment revenue. This is compared to operating expenditure of $15.8 million without depreciation. In slide 3, this table takes the full income statement and compares those results to budget. We can see the United ended the period better than budget by $1.3 million when combining all funds. Slide 4 shows the most significant variances from budget were attributable to the following. Number 1, employee compensation, $1.1 million. And this favorable variance resulted primarily in the landscape and MNC departments due to open positions. And impacted areas include ground maintenance, irrigation, electrical, plumbing, interior components, and paint. Recruitment is in progress to fill in current open positions, and grounds maintenance contracted shrub maintenance to outside vendors for the pruning weeding cycle as they continue to fill open position. And then second component is outside service, $421,000 favorable, and it is primarily due to the timing of the work in the maintenance and construction programs, which include roof replacement, PVC cool roofing, and paving, parkway concrete repairs. This favorable variance is partially offset due to more damage restoration events that occurred through the reporting period than anticipated. And insurance, $263,000 favorable, and it is due to lower hazard and liability insurance and property insurance premiums than anticipated at the time of budget preparation. As a result of the joint policy with Third that began on January 1, 2024, United will see a saving in property insurance through the end of 2024. And the final unfavorable component is fees and charges for services to residents, $660,000 unfavorable. And this variance primarily due to less damage restoration backlog revenue than originally anticipated at the time of budget preparation. We have been talking about all the time here, right? The anticipated revenue in United 2024 budget was based on sample of open damage restoration cases that represented an average cost of $4,000 per incident. The actual cost per incident was lower than the sample data represented. Additionally, the majority of these cases were completed in 2023, approximately 298 out of 314 total cases. Next slide, number 5, shows non-assessment revenues earned to date of $1.3 million. And revenue is organized by category, starting with our largest revenue generating category, fees and charges, followed by investment incomes, laundry, leasing, processing fee, resale processing fee, and so on. Next slide is explanation of that slide 5. This table shows the same $1.3 million of non-assessment revenue as presented in the previous pie chart and compares it to a current year's budget and the prior year's year-to-date actuals. So this is additional reference if you want to know comparison between last year and this year and budget and actual. Slide 7, on this pie chart, we see the expenses to date of $31.8 million, showing that our largest category of expense are of property tax, employee compensation, followed by outside services, insurance, and so on. And then next slide, again shows the same $31.8 million of expenses and compares it to the current year's budget and the prior year's year-to-date actuals. Doing pretty well. A little bit, yeah, the total expenses is still doing okay. In slide 9, our fund balance is all shown here. The contingency fund balance on July 31, 24 was $1.3 million. And contributions collected together totaled $88,000 with no expenditures to date. The reserve fund balance of July 31 was $15.7 million. Contributions and investment revenue collected totaled $7.9 million, while expenditures were $7.5 million. Slide 10, we compare this to historical fund balance for the past 5 years. On this chart, which have averaged $19.9 million that we are talking about on our budget process. It will go down further, and we need to really make up soon. That's what we're trying to do, and we are putting that $6 back to the reserve account. All right, next slide. This table illustrates a schedule of repayment of temporary borrowing from the reserve fund. United continues to keep a close eye on the repayment of borrowed monies to the reserve fund, and based on this schedule, plans to pay the balance in full by October 31. Actually, already we are paying. We are due $3.5 million by September 30th, and October 30th, $1 million. But between August 31, September 30, I think about September 6th, we paid additional $1 million. So now we are due $2.5 million left. But anyway, October 31, we are going to pay back all the money that we borrowed last time. Let's go to slide 12. We have a table here to show resale history from 2022 through 2024. Through July 31st this year, United resale total 215, which is 18 resales higher than the prior year for the same time period. The average year-to-date resale price for United Mutual Manor was $390,000, which is $44,000 more than the prior year for the same period. Financial report, Finance Committee report, agenda shows detailed information regarding that resale and rental property rate, right? So agenda item number 15A2, page 3 and actually, yeah, 15A3, page 1 of 2, and page 2 of 2. Those pages shows monthly resale report, a little detailed data, right? So percent change and also total sale volume in dollars, and also, let's see, what is that? Average resale price. Everything is increasing. 7.0% increase for the number of sales, and 19.9% increase in dollar amount, and also 12.6% increase in the average resale price. So we are doing very well. And the other page showed the active leasing report. And again, the bottom graph in green is total last year, and top red line depicted for total this year. As of today, we have about 13.9% leased compared to the last year, 12.7%. So generally, we are doing fine, and we will have a final finance committee the end of this month, Tuesday, September 28th, something like that. And again, as a committee chair, I've been very, very thankful, and it's been a fulfilling year for us to work together, and challenging year to make this budget. But I am very thankful for the staff and our committee, and also all the board members for supporting and encouragement, particularly Ms. Tuning and Ms. Bach, and also advisors, Mr. Ken Benson and Eric Carson. And we have one more advisor member appointed at the very beginning, but he was still working. So two of them faithfully attended and supported us. So I am very grateful. I give my thanks to them again. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Architectural standards and controls. Tony? Controls and standards, excuse me.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I won't take up much of your time, but if you're paying attention to the consent calendar and the finished and unfinished business, future business, your architectural and control people are very, very busy going through our 44 standards. And our next meeting is the 19th at 9:30. Is that right? Yeah, it's 9:30, 19th. It's an open meeting here at the boardroom. Thank you.
Member hearings, Nancy Cowper.
There's nothing to report, and of course those meetings have privileged information.
Okay. Governing docs, Maggie?
Thank you. We met on August 15th. We did the voting policy and a little bit in the director's handbook. And we have some future item agendas for this next meeting. Please come if you're interested. It's Thursday, September 19th at 1:30 in this room. Thank you.
Landscape, Sue?
Landscape meets on the fourth Monday of the month, and it will be occurring at 1:30 in the boardroom.
And maintenance and construction, Pearl?
The committee met on August 28th, 2024. Next meeting is October 23rd, 2024, at 1:30.
And we won't be there, will we?
No.
Okay. Tony, you have two reports, resident advisory and revenue ad hoc.
Thank you, Madam Chair. On resident advisory, this next meeting will be on September the 12th at 4 p.m. in the Elm Room. It's an open meeting, and we keep your information private, so feel free to return. And then the Ad Hoc Revenue Committee meets on September the 11th at 9:30 in the boardroom.
That's tomorrow, right?
Yes.
Yes.
And everybody's welcome. And remember, my only one thing is leaves. I mean, ideas are like leaves. They usually wind up in a compost pile. So if you have some ideas, put some flesh on it and join us. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. We've gone through GRF committee highlights under the consent calendar. We're now at item 17, future agenda items. We have items that have, we have resolutions that have gone into 28-day public review. And I have just one comment in closing. I may have misled in my previous comments, director comments about contributions to reserves. There were no increases. There were no added monies to the reserves that had been going on for several years. So it's not that there was 000 going in, but there were no additional amounts needed to offset inflation, additional work and problems and so on. So I wanted to make that clear. And with that, we will recess and for about 40 minutes and rejoin the festivities at about 12:45. Thank you.